Hello all, welcome back to the Java Selenium course. I know it's been a long time. We have so far developed a script which will help us to automate one end-to-end scenario. But there are very basic things that have been used. Okay. Now we will see how we can change some of those, and maybe we will cover some of the best practices so that you will learn how it is really done and in the real time projects. So this will help you to add some experience into your learning as well. Okay. Now if you see in the code that we have built so far, there are cases where we are saying browser.wait. So what actually is this method doing and why do we need? We need this because when we interact with the UI elements, the time it takes for the application to react and then to interact with another UI element in the application, it might take some time. Okay, there is some synchronization. Because this is code, it will execute very fastly. Right? Now, in order to make the automation code little slower, what we have done is we have added these waits. Okay, but ideally this is not a good practice. There are other ways of handling these kind of synchronizations. So that is what we are going to look into today. Okay. Now, so what do we do? There are cases where when you are interacting with a particular UI element, we need to make sure that the object is actually visible, or you can also check in other ways also. The other way could be like whether the object is interactable or not by the Selenium code. So for that we will write some small piece of code. So and then we will apply this particular code for all the operations that we perform. Like for example, click is an operation that you are performing on an object. Even click by XP or set text. So all these are the actions that we are performing. While performing this particular actions, we want to first check whether the object is interactable or not. So let's get into it. So I have written two functions already. I will be showing those two methods that I have written, and then I will explain it. Okay, and I will show you how do you implement them in each of the operations that we perform. Okay, so I have written them in the browser, and then if you see, if you see here, I have written method called wait for click by ID. That means I am taking an ID as input, and then based on that ID we will check whether that particular element is interactable or not. Okay, so Selenium has given something called WebDriver wait. This is a class. Okay, let us see if it is class or interface. Yeah, it is class only. So what I did is I just press the control in the keyboard, and then if you click here on this particular thing, you can go into the declaration. I think we have discussed this earlier also, but I'm just repeating it. Now, if you see here, it says it's a class and it extends something called flow and wait. Okay. Now, I forgot to tell you, there are two types of wait mechanisms. One is called implicit wait, the other is called external wait. So this is basically an external wait. And I think we have done the implicit wait before itself. Let me see. Yeah, if you see here, there is something called driver.manage.timeouts of implicitly wait. Here we are saying that before interacting with any object, make sure it waits for maximum 20 seconds. That if the Selenium is basically able to interact with the object, it will not wait for 20 seconds and it will perform the operation. Okay. Now what we are talking about is basically a external wait, which is basically to check on a specific object. Okay. So why we are doing this? Because the implicit wait is on visibility. Some of the times the implicit wait also will not work, because what happens is in the application that you are interacting with, the object might be visible, okay, but still due to the Ajax calls or some of the synchronizations, the object might be still loading. Okay. In that case, what happens is even if the object is visible, it will perform the action on top of that object. Now, but the object is still refreshing or doing some other action on that by the application, then it will throw errors. So what we are trying to do is we are going to check whether the object is clickable or not. Okay. So there are two types of things here. One is it is visible but not clickable also, because it might be grayed out or it might be disabled in the web application due to some functionality reasons or some issues or something. Right. Now that is why we have to check whether the object is clickable or not. That is when it means that object is enabled and we can perform actions. So that is why what we are doing is first we are getting the WebDriver wait, and then we are telling which driver object to use. After that we are saying maximum how much seconds, and then we are saying wait until. So up to what condition the driver has to wait is what we are trying to give here. Now we are saying expected conditions is what? Element to be clickable. Now here there can be multiple other options also. If you see element to be clickable is there, element selection state to be is there, element to be selected is there, there is visibility also, I guess. So if you type visibility, right, visibility of elements, whatever, there are different kinds of conditions that you can use. Based on the need, we will choose which particular condition on which you want to wait for that particular object. So here, as a general or generic way, we are considering that if a particular element can be clickable, it means that it's good state that you can use for. So what we have done, we have written a method called wait for click by name, which takes the name, okay, and then we are creating a wait object, and then we are saying wait until this particular condition is true. On what object? There we are saying that by dot name. So here basically you can have by dot name, by dot id, by dot xpath, whatever different kinds of locators. So I wrote multiple methods like this: wait for click by name, wait for click by id, which takes id, and then also by xpath. Okay, by xpath. So because we have been using name, id, and xpath as three main different locators to identify the objects, we have created these three methods. So it will also return whether it is true or false. Ideally, this condition will fail, then it will throw an exception, and then it will go into catch. But right now we are not doing anything in catch, we are just saying false, return as false. If there is no exception, it will return true, which means the object is clickable and we can perform the action. So this is how we are saying that on a particular object, which is given by xpath identification, it will wait until it is clickable. Now, this is like a generic function returned to the library. Now, how do you basically put them in each and every actions, right? So we have methods for different, so what are the methods we have? We have setText, we have setText by name, we have click, we have click by xpath, we have, right now we have these methods, okay? So here what we will do, we will basically write some conditions. Like for example, if I say if wait for click by, this is using id, so I will use id, and then id is there. So if it is clickable, then we will say we will perform the actions. Otherwise, we will print some error message into our console. System.error. Object not found with id, and we can use the id. Okay. So basically, what we have done, if the object is clickable, then I will perform the action whatever we are doing. But if it is not clickable, then I am saying that object is not found with id. Okay. So like this, we will do for all the actions related methods. Now we can also see if we can add this to the setText by name. So here we say if wait for by name same. So actually it's not object not found, it is object is either not found or not clickable. Okay. So I'll put the same here also. But here instead of ID we will say name. Now we can do the same for click, but this is with ID, so we will write the copy of if condition. So when you execute the script, you will not find that there is anything different that is happening. Okay. But ideally there is a difference because on every action that we are performing, it will first check whether the particular object is clickable or not. Okay, and then we have the X path. Okay, I think we have updated all the operations related methods to wait for that particular object. Okay, so let's go to the demo test and we will remove these things. Okay, now these are not required. Anywhere else we have, I think right now we have in, okay, Rust here. Yeah. So this is how the modification happens. So every action that performs, it first checks for whether the object is clickable or not, and if it is only clickable, then it will perform the action. Otherwise, it will print an error. Okay. So generally, we use system.out.print or println. If you do that in your console, basically you will see black text coming, but I want it to stand out like red color. Then what I will do is I will say system.error. So we are basically saying that some error has happened and it can be easily understandable if the red color that it displays. Okay. So that's why we have used system.error.print instead of system.out.print. Okay. Now let us execute this and see if this is working fine or not. Okay. Right click, run as Java application. So it will come something like this with red color, so that even if there is more log, I can see that that particular red text coming. So it has launched actually. It's going so fast. Yeah. So basically, what happened? The complete execution has happened even if you did not keep this browser.waits, right? So ideally these are not required because we have handled the synchronization using the external wait. So that is the external wait that we have used on all the operations that are being performed. Okay. I think this is what I would talk about with respect to waits. So please make sure that you will not use browser.wait or thread.sleep. Browser.wait is basically having thread.sleep. So yeah, if you see here, it has thread.sleep. So it is a very bad practice to use thread.sleep unless and until there are cases where you are unable to handle with the waits, the synchronized waits or the external waits. Then only you should go for direct hard-coded wait. Okay, this is very important. This is also can be a good interview question that can be asked for you. So you have to tell them if what are the best practices. You can mention this is one of them. That don't do any hard code waitings. You have to basically use either implicit wait or the explicit wait, or we call it as external wait. Okay. So I think that is it for this particular session. I hope I'm adding value. If you like this content, I would request you to please hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that any new videos that I'm launching, you will not miss them. Okay, so I will be continuing with more videos as part of this Java Selenium series, and I think it will be more, covering about the best practices or different other options, like maybe we will be interacting with Excel. How do you get data from Excel and then use it in your scripts, right? See, here we have all hard coded the test data, like what is the URL, what is the username, what is the password, all those things, right? What product you are actually adding to cart. So these all can be getting from external data. So we will be covering more and more these kind of concepts. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll be making more regular videos now. Thank you so much.